Right, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell from this video just yet, but I have got a new camera here. So finally invested in some equipment to basically take this YouTube up a notch. Now, it's not really to do with the quality per se, although obviously that's going to be a nice bonus. But the main thing is being able to have a tripod that I can set up in the gym and sort of not have to worry about picking a song and using my phone, things like that. It's just going to be a more streamlined way of me recording it, and therefore I feel like less barrier to actually record means I'm going to do it more often, become more natural, more content, and therefore just more uploads. So yeah, that should be really good. And then also even just getting a tripod, getting a you know, like an external hard drive. Some of you guys that have been watching my videos probably realize that I'm always running out of storage. So yeah, those purchases should be smart and should help the YouTube channel. But in terms of the content, it's probably going to stay roughly the same. So what I'm planning on doing is still want to be visiting a few different gyms. I've got a few videos that I've been editing, obviously, that you'll probably see before this one, where I've been to a few different gyms, either in this country or different countries. So I still want to be keeping that like part of the series. And then just some vlog stuff as well, if there's anything fun that I do. But with these sessions, I do want to pretty much try and record most of my sessions and either do a voiceover or just let it play. Or if I think it's kind of exciting enough, maybe I'll chop it up with some music. But yeah, that's that. I just thought I'd do a little intro. But for now, I'm going to go and train. So this week I've been pretty ill. I haven't been ill in a while. It's one of them ones where you feel like you're getting ill all week, and then you kind of just, you know, you don't actually get sort of bed bound, but it's just the point where, you know, you just know that you're really running on empty. So I did take 2 rest days this week already, which I probably wouldn't have done if I was feeling okay. So I've already rested a lot more than I would like to have done. It hasn't really done too much for me. And I feel like I just need to get out of the house a bit. So this morning, done loads more work on the house with my brother, so nothing too exciting, but just sorting out the driveway, the garden looks really, really good. And then I've just had 3 donuts, so give me about 600 calories. I just don't have any appetite either. Now I'm a bit ill, so that's been kind of tough as well. So weight dropped from 259 over the last 3 days to like 253, so dropped 6 pounds. This morning I was back up to about 256, so we're getting there. But I'm going to call this bulk in around 2 weeks time, so last push should be good. Anyway, today I'm going to train side delts and calves because I've done huge back session this week, I've done loads of arms, and I've got a big chest and shoulders tomorrow. So yeah, legs, I'm not going to train them when I'm ill because that would just be a terrible idea. But yeah, calves, side delts on the machine should be absolutely perfect. So I'll probably record maybe 1 set of each and then just get some posing at the end. So yeah, let's get into it. So after editing this footage, I think I've decided to do a voiceover, mainly because it's not the most exciting gym footage. Now, I know some of these days are going to be very repetitive and it'll be the same gym, same exercises, but this day particularly, I was just focused on side delts. So that is one thing which I want to talk about a little bit in this commentary, is how it's okay to focus on your weaknesses, or potentially not even something which is a weakness, but you just want to make even more of a strength. So for me, I don't think I have ridiculously small shoulders or anything like that, but in terms of how I want my physique to look, this is just something which I've always been working on, and I find that if I don't specify it, then it will kind of lack a little bit. Now, that being said, looking back at this footage here, this is kind of a few months or maybe 2 months after my wrist operation, or one of them. So that is why I was avoiding doing any sort of heavy pressing, or that's one of the reasons why, and even to go as far as not using dumbbells for that reason. So in the future, and at this point in time when I'm doing the commentary, there is one shoulder press machine which I will use, and that feels absolutely great for my front delts, and it also works a little bit in my triceps on the lockout there. But at this point in time, it was just more beneficial and more productive for me to focus on the machine. So as you can see here, this is a seated side lateral raise machine, and what I'm doing here is basically working my way up to a weight at this point that was really, really difficult for me. So I've been doing this machine for a number of weeks now at this point, and some weeks I'd do it twice in a week. So that meant that my volume was very high, my work rate was high. I'd built up those motor pathways and that kind of neural connection to the muscles from my brain in order to perform the exercise as efficiently as possible. So what I'm trying to say by that is, obviously a lot of this strength is and has been built up from post injury, post recovery from the surgery. But then a lot of it is not just going to be the physical muscle fibers, but also kind of my brain telling my body how to execute it. So that is one of the reasons I believe that you can still build strength while in a dieting phase. And I think a lot of people do overlook that, which I guess in a certain aspect you could say could be a bit misleading, because then if you are gaining strength but your body weight's not going up, you could be perhaps thinking that you are, you know, still gaining muscle mass when in fact you're still only gaining strength. But that's another topic which honestly won't really apply to most people. And I would say actually if you are someone that's only just started the gym, it is possible to gain a lot of muscle mass while simultaneously losing some body fat. And that can be why if you look at your body weight as a beginner, it might actually stay around the same level. Now that is not to say that that applies to everyone. Some people are super lean and they'll just stay that way for a lot of their kind of lifting journey, whereas other people will perhaps just go straight to a heavy bulk and then just stay heavy, and you know that is kind of the way that they are preferred to be. But in terms of myself, I have always looked to basically grow my shoulders, because I find that if I don't, they kind of make my physique look a little bit strange due to the fact that I have a decently sized chest. So I think chest genetics were actually already decent, but then with the crazy chest training I did from the age of, you know, around sort of 18 up until probably the age of maybe 21, so like the first 3 years, which realistically are going to be the most important and the most pivotal years of anyone's training. So that is when you'll notice the most progress. And unfortunately after a while, if you were to look at the person's physique in pictures, or even if you were to look at their strength on a graph, unfortunately at a certain point it would kind of start to taper off to a certain extent. But obviously ultimately you then need to take it upon yourself to use your knowledge and work out new ways to keep that progress going. So that's one thing that I'm always working on, and I think it's nice to still see that beginner progress in some of my clients. And then now comes the test of kind of teaching them how to use that knowledge and still carry it forward. So I would say that, yeah, your progress does become a bit more difficult to notice the further you get into your lifting career. But actually, if you learn things the proper way, so if you learn how to manipulate your metabolism a little bit, and if you learn also how to kind of work the gym around your schedule and avoid things that just don't work for you, which you might have tried in the first 2 to 3 years, then you've kind of refined yourself to be more efficient, more effective with your training. So yeah, I would always look at it as a positive and never as a negative in terms of experience. But what I was showing you here was just basically how I can really make this one exercise give me an insane shoulder pump. And I think at this point in time, I probably would have done at least 5 sets there. And you can see I'm going absolutely insane with the partial reps. So they're, you know, loads of reps in the actual initial kind of part of the set where I'm trying to get all the way up there. And then when I reach that fatigue, I'm still carrying it on for a few partial reps. And then I'm going to, I guess, what you could consider kind of speed partial reps, where I'm literally just trying to pump out as much as possible and fill my delts with blood. Now, that might look silly to you guys, but honestly, if you try it, the burn is absolutely insane. And what I will say is I don't use this in every aspect of my training. There's a lot of exercises that it can be useful for, but I'd say most probably isn't. But the ones that it is, you'll really notice just how much further you can take that set. That being said, I do try and avoid doing it every single exercise for that specific muscle group, and that's because I don't want to get myself in the habit of then kind of expecting the burn to come on at that point in time and then kind of neglecting the initial part of the set. And I still also carry that method through to drop sets. So I don't always do a drop set, because I find that if I do start to do that, then my brain kind of anticipates it and I just end up waiting for that last part of the set rather than actually burning out in the main part. So don't forget that although gym is obviously mainly physical, a lot of it is going to be mental. So if you can kind of look to utilize that aspect and make sure that you are benefiting on both sides, then ultimately you're going to be winning. So yeah, just finishing off the session with some calves here. I pretty much was doing 12 sets of calves per week. So I'd either do 3 sets 4 times a week or 4 sets 3 times a week. I'm doing a little bit less now, but I'm still definitely up in the volume. I'd say I'm usually doing about 6 to 8 sets per week now, but I will look to include a little bit more going into the winter months, especially now I'm back on the bulk again. So yeah, it is interesting watching this, because again, this is a little bit in the past now, and I've gone through a few phases which I won't talk about, because obviously you'll see those as the videos come out. But ultimately this is just a solid workout that I got done and really allowed myself to focus on those kind of finer details, specifically being the calves and the side delt. So yeah, if you guys have got access to a lateral raise machine, I know a lot of gyms don't, but also some gyms do. This isn't the best one that I've used personally. I don't love it, but it is decent. I know some people will also face the opposite way, which you guys can try, and that is something that I have done in the past. But I do prefer ultimately to just do it this way. I find just a better connection, a better burn. And yeah, that is just also because everyone has a different anatomy. So try a few things out, take some of the advice that I've given you guys, and yeah, perhaps just spend a session working on one of your weaker muscle groups and not worrying about moving around for the whole session. Pick a muscle group that you haven't given as much focus to recently, just camp out on one exercise and just really up the volume and see what you can do. So yeah, I'll leave it here and hope you guys enjoyed that little voiceover. Right, session done. So not too much to talk about really. I've got to stop staring at the screen and just focus on the actual camera itself here. So yeah, great session to be fair. I did 5 sets of the seated lateral raise, which I'm sure I've probably done a voiceover for this one. This is obviously at the end of the session. 5 sets of that, 4 sets of calves. So 9 sets in total, so not like a ridiculously short session, to be honest with you. But obviously just not loads of volume on the shoulders, especially not the front delts, because like I said, I'm gonna be doing a lot of pressing tomorrow. So yeah, that should be good. I've got a few clips as well, posing down, so still sort of practicing. I need to figure out how to mess with the ISO and the exposure and everything like that. But yeah, it was good. So today, all I've had is a litre of chocolate milk and 3 donuts. So I'm gonna go and have like proper food now. Just had no appetite since I've been ill, so I've just been trying to like get in whatever I can. But I mean, the chocolate milk's got like 45 grams of protein in, so yeah, not too bad at all. So yeah, gonna go Tesco, pick up some food, and then crack on now. So I've got 2 weeks today and then 2 weeks left of this bulk, so really gonna push it now, because I don't want to be like wasting this last 2 weeks just kind of like hovering, because every day is really difficult at this point. So it's like if you're on a cut, you know, you may as well just push it through to the end rather than just spending 2 weeks like kind of hating your life and not making any progress. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video, and any recommendations or any constructive criticism or anything like that, if there's any camera nerds on here, then let me know what I'm doing wrong. But yeah, as of now, I'm just enjoying it, getting some content out there and just documenting my journey. And I think not just for you guys, but it'll be nice for me to look back on and perhaps, you know, critique my training, see what I could do better, see what perhaps I'm overtraining and things like that. So yeah, if there's any more updates, anything that I think will be worth documenting today, I'll take a video of it. But other than that, I'll catch you guys when I train next, which will probably be tomorrow. Fudge chocolate milk from Aldi. So it's 720 calories per one of these. So let's see how quickly I can down one of these. Right, so as I said, 720 calories, 40 grams of protein. Sometimes I have 2 of these a day when I'm like on the last couple weeks of the bulk. Right. There you have it. No excuses.